Hey guys, it is Friday. I have an addition to the base station list that we came up with a couple weeks ago. And this came from a viewer who said, hey, why didn't this make the list? Well, part of it was because I didn't know it existed. So we're going to cover that right here, right now on Ham Radio for Non-Techies. So as I said, guys, I had a viewer, a subscriber here that called me out and he said, hey, what about this radio? I was like, well, I didn't know that radio existed. So let me go check it out and see what I can figure out on it. And, if I like what I see, I'll add it to it. Well, I was actually pretty blown away. So I want to show you guys, we're going to add this to the base station radio list that's on kit.co. And I've already added to the list. I'm be making some additions onto the website as well. By the way, if you have not gone to hamradiofornontechies.com, please check out that site. I got a lot of useful information on there for both people looking to get into ham radio and those who are already in ham radio that might want to either upgrade their license or just find some general information on things we talk about here on the channel. Also, if you guys like this video, please give me a thumbs up. It will help the YouTube algorithm show my video to more ham radio enthusiasts around the world. Let's get started. Okay, so let's go to my desktop. And like I said, we had this before. We talked about my top picks for ham radio base stations, and just briefly, we're going to go through this real quick. The first one was, of course, the 991A, which is the one I've got now. We went through the ICOM IC7300, the Yaesu FT-DX3000D, which I still think is a great radio. The Kenwood TS590SG, although it doesn't have all the cool new awesome features that you get on some of the newer radios, it's a tried and true stand-up radio. And of course, we talked about, oh, no, we didn't. We talked about the ICOM IC7100. So what I didn't cover, and I goofed on my slides, is the Yaesu FT-DX10. Now, this radio came out, it was released in December of 2020, which is probably why I didn't know about it. I haven't seen a whole lot of chatter about this radio, but after looking at it, it looks very promising to me. It looks like this might be something, if it has the features you're looking for a base station radio, I think this is going to be a really cool one for you. It does feature Yaesu's hybrid SDR configuration, meaning you can hook it into your computer and use the SDR functions. 15 separate bandpass filters. The receiver frequency range is 30 kilohertz to 29.699999 megahertz and 50 megahertz to 53.999999 megahertz. Transmitter frequency coverage is 1.8 to 54 megahertz on amateur radio bands only. This is the cool part of it, one of the cool things I like about it. A 5-inch full-color touchscreen. And we're going to get into that more here in a second. You can kind of see a little bit here in the picture. We're going to go to a larger picture here shortly. The dimensions on this thing are about 10.5 inches by 3.5 inches by 10.35 inches. So it's just a little bit larger than the 991A. But it looks like it's packed with a lot of features. Now, this is not a shack in the box in the respects that it does VHF, UHF, and all the HF bands. So it is limited only to doing HF stuff. Excellent for single sideband operation. It supports CW operation of multiple functions such as CW zero in, CW auto zero in, CW reverse, CW decode, CW keying, signal form shaping by FPGA, and others. So if you guys are into operating in CW, looks like it's got a bunch of features packed in there just for you. Does come with a high-speed automatic antenna tuner built in with a large capacity 100-channel memory. So that's kind of cool. Although as we'll see here shortly, you do have options to add in an external antenna tuner like on most of these rigs. So that's the new radio I wanted to show you guys. If I'd known more about it and heard more about it, I would have added it in. And I wanted to thank our viewer for commenting on this and hitting me up on that, and so I could research it and find out and then bring it to you guys. So thumbs up to you, man. You rock. Okay, so let's go over and take a look at the actual radio. And I want to look at, okay, so first of all, this is one of the radios apparently because it's fairly new. It's not as scarce as some of the other ones out there that we talked about. A lot of these other radios that I've been showing you guys lately have been either scarce or on back order for months and blah, blah, blah. This one doesn't seem to have that problem. If you go to HRO's website, hamradio.com, every single one of their satellite locations seems to have it in stock. Now, it does carry a hefty price tag of $1699.95, but I put it in here because it still falls in the category of base stations that are under $2,000. So I thought that was a good price point for it, and if it falls within my parameters, so I said, okay, we'll add it. So you can go crazy with the ham radio base stations and get them where they're $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $10,000 for a base station. But if you're either just starting out, which is kind of like what we kind of base this channel on, is people just getting into it, or you don't have a big budget, something in those other price ranges might not work for you. But this, I think this at $16.99, I think it's a fair price for what you're getting with it. So now we're going to switch over to another supplier, which is DX Engineering, because they put out better pictures than HRO, unfortunately. So here is the actual size of the radio here, or not the or larger size view of the radio. My mistake. Sorry, guys. I'm still waking up here. Now, if you look at the screen down here, this screen looks like it features a 3D scope, which I think is absolutely amazing. That's a really, that's a fantastic thing to have. It really just dresses up the radio, and I think it's got some great functionality for you when you're scanning through the channels and stuff like that. Let's see. Let's go on to the next part here. It's got a multi-function VFO knob, and of course you have a lot of your other functions and stuff that are going to be similar to the Yaesu 991 and some of the other Yaesu radios. Let's see. Let's go on to the back end of this thing. And all right, now we're just screwing with me here. There we go. All right, so on the back end, you, of course, have your HF antenna port. You have your RTTY data port. Here's the port for your external tuner. Of course, you got your accessory port and ground. Let's see. Of course, your power pole here. Your key for your CW, and I think this is where you would plug it in to attach it to your monitor and then go into your computer and so forth. It also features multiple USB ports here and a port for an external speaker. So you got quite a few little things in the back end of this little package, and I think this is probably going to be a very powerful little radio for anybody who's looking for the features that this one has. So let's see. I think that's pretty much it on this at the moment, guys. If you're on the market for something like this, you can also add an optional speaker, although there is a speaker right up in the top right there. Right in there. There's a speaker up on top, but that was, if you don't like the top-facing speaker, want something a little bit better, there is an option to get the SP30 speaker edition, which will plug right into this thing, and it'll match up to the radio just fine. So I think that let's go. I think we're gonna go back to my go back to my main cam here. So I think the overall takeaway from this is that if you're on the market for a radio that has these features and you have the budget for this, this sounds like a really good radio. The 5-inch touchscreen. I mean, that's the size of that's almost the size of a cell phone. It may be a little bit bigger in one dimension or another. But I believe this would be a really good radio for you. And I think if it proves itself like all the other Yaesu products that I own, you know, I think this will last you many years, give you years of enjoyment, and allow you to reach quite a few frequencies. I have read some reviews online from people who have had like the ICOM 7100 and other Yaesu products, and they say just in comparison to the 7100, they were picking up channels on this that the ICOM just couldn't do. So maybe there's some better technology built into here that's able to pull those frequencies in and allow you to hear better and actually transmit on those frequencies as well. And it could have been, you know, it could have also been an antenna issue. We don't know the parameters in that this guy was operating in, but if this thing lives up to the hype of what they're saying about it, having SDR in there and all the other little features that we discussed, I think this is probably a good radio to consider. Now, like I said, it's not an all-band transceiver. It is strictly for HF, but if that's your gig, if that's what you like to do, then this is probably going to work for you. Anyway, I just want to let you guys know. I wanted to let you know that a viewer had contacted me and asked me about this radio. I want to do a quick review, and I was so impressed by it. I did want to add it to our kit.co, so you can see that down below in the review or in the description, and check it out for yourself and do your own research. Again, like I've said before, research these radios. Don't just take my word for it. You know, I just learned about this thing a little while back, and I wanted to research as much as I could and bring the information to you so you can make your own educated decision on whether that was the radio for you. Anyway, guys, if you like this channel, please subscribe and click the little bell, and I will keep putting out more videos. And by clicking that little bell, it'll let you know when I do that. Don't forget, like I said in the beginning of the video here, to check out hamradiofornontechies.com. We also have a Facebook group you can join and and talk to other ham radio people and just discuss and chew the fat about things. So I encourage you guys to jump in there. If you find any suggestions for things that I might have missed, or you see any things you might like me to cover, shoot me a comment or shoot me a text, and we'll go from there. Anyway, guys, this is Ham Radio for Non-Techies. My name is Scott. My call sign is KI5NPL, and I'll be clear.